Maybe we can do that. And then, welcome everyone to committee meetings for Monday, November 10th. Start out with County Services Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So tonight we have an update from Amanda.
So Sherry asked me to just give a little update where we're at with numbers. Currently we have 129 that are receiving meals that are prepared by our central kitchen on homebound meals. 12 individuals are on mom's meals, and we have 1 on senior projects of Urbana. Before we got to today, we weren't sure if we were going to renew that senior projects of Urbana. That is now up in the air till further notice. I guess we will keep that 1 individual. Again, the issue was some of the people within reach of our routes have been a problem. Senior projects of Urbana is costing about the same as what it's costing us right now to prepare the meal and deliver the meal. So we can stay with that contract, but again, we only have 1 individual on that. So it's 142 individuals on homebound meals. I mean, that number is not a static number. It's fluid. It runs every day. We have, last week we had 2 individuals that went into the long-term care, well, 1 into the hospital indefinitely, and then 1 went into long-term care. I mean, these things can go up and down. So we are, we have new calls coming in frequently. So we are going out and assessing on a weekly basis. We're going out and seeing individuals and adding them on. As far as routes, so since we've decided to stay with the hot meals, we have 12 routes again to fill. I'll give you a little snapshot of what it looks like trying to fill these routes for volunteers. So Acre has 1 route, right? Seems like it's pretty easy to fill, except I only have 1 agency that is doing the same day every week. So that is the ARC is doing on Mondays every week. Everybody else, I have somebody that does the 1st and 3rd Thursdays. I have somebody that does the 1st and 3rd Fridays. I have someone that does every other Wednesday and may substitute if available. I have somebody that does 2nd and 4th Thursdays. And again, presuming they don't have a doctor's appointment or some other varying conflict that can get in the way of them getting to our meals. Somebody else does 2nd and 4th Friday. However, they're our main backup if we're down our meal site manager at the Caro Senior Center. So the reliability for volunteers is a struggle. It was a full-time job that we had that Ruth was in until the end of June when she resigned, retired. We've been filling it part-time because we didn't want to fill somebody if we weren't sure what direction we were going in, but it is even beyond filling the actual routes. There was this other hierarchy issue that we're running into with compliance, mandatory trainings. What do we do if they still continue to leave a meal? And we have, for instance, a gentleman, this is how we found out one of our persons last week ended up in the hospital, was somebody left the meal the day before, never notified us that they left the meal outside, and it wasn't until they went back the 2nd day that they saw the meal still sitting outside that they called the office to tell us that the individual wasn't home, at which point we started calling emergency contacts, reached out to the client, and that client is now indefinitely in the hospital. We don't have any particulars as to what the condition is. However, this is what's happening. I mean, and this is on a daily basis. These are the calls that we're getting. These are the issues that we're running into. So while it seems like it's a really great option to have people do the homebound meal deliveries, it's a very crucial piece to, compliance. I mean, we need to make sure they're maintaining temperatures, that they're not shooing birds out of the homes in the middle of their shift, right? That they're not taking out trash while they have 4 other meals sitting there. We had an individual whose car broke down 2 weeks ago and didn't call the office to tell us that it was a flat tire. 2 hours, the meals were delayed by. And when we finally got in touch with her because the clients were calling us because their meals hadn't been delivered, that's when we found out that there was an issue with the vehicle. And again, I'm not looking to point fingers. It's just, these are things that come up. And if if they were in-house, if they were staff, if they were another agency that was just handling this for us, we wouldn't have these issues because there would be somebody on standby. We would know that we were expected that, if a vehicle went down or somebody wasn't available, we'd be able to backfill it in a more expedient manner. But these are things that do happen. And of course, that route happened to be a mountaintop route. So, they're the furthest from the central office where we can get to them. So we do really struggle, again, with making sure that we're able to fill these voids. We had quite a few volunteers that had resigned during the months of all this stuff going on because they weren't happy with decisions that were made. If they want to come back, we have to go back through all new training and things like that. But again, the reliability that people aren't, always going to be available, and those types of issues that come up are really stress factors that cause a lot of, issues internally. We sent out on 6 different occasions in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, we had to send staff from this office that were admin staff out to drive those vehicles in order to get those meals delivered. So,
What's their work behind?
which also interrupts, some of them were scheduled to do home visits with other clients, some of them had other issues coming on. So we really are doing, it's not like people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's just, again, where do we go from here? So, yes.
So, 2 things. One is that I did, in my daily routes around, I did talk to a couple people that were previously volunteers that are coming back. So my question would be, are you contacting the previous volunteers to see if they're interested in coming back and doing the 5 meals? And my other question is that, say, well, the mountaintop, as you know, is far away.
Yeah.
So if we sent one of the county cars up there and the car broke down for a flat tire, whatever reason, it would still be 2 hours anyway.
Well, it would be, but at least we could bring hot meals back out from the central kitchen. You know what I mean? This is the thing. Those meals, I don't even know if they were served at an adequate temperature by the time they made it to their own room. That's part of the issue.
So with the hot meals, are we still just putting a brick in the bag, or did we come up with something because I know, like, many years ago, I had a cooler that you could plug into the cigarette lighter. They kept the temperature 30 degrees above the ambient temperature in the thing. So do we have something like that?
So we are still using the bricks. The issue with the coolers, again, we have these bags that we purchased. Those are what we've always used. We are using more bricks in them. They make the bags heavier. The coolers are larger. We're dealing with an aging population. So as great as the coolers sound, when I already brought that up as an option, maybe we should look into this. The issue is the weight. They're not going to be able to carry the weight and the bulkiness of a larger cooler. So you're talking about 10 meals in each cooler at a minimum. Some are 22. Bethany Village is like 22 meals. Again, these are things that we have. If we were paying staff to deliver them, absolutely, we would use them because they would have to do a minimum weight
But a
and all that
cooler
stuff.
would be heavier than the bricks that you're putting in
It's the bulkiness and the size and yeah, that we use, like, some of ours they're going in 2 bags. We're putting multiple bricks, but they're spreading it across 2 bags versus one big device, or cooler that they're gonna be carrying. So again, and as far as the volunteers that have reached out, they can reach back out to us. We have 180 volunteers that were at one time on the roster. We're down, and I'm going way back. Our records, we're trying to clean up records that we have people that were deceased, people that aren't doing it at all or physically can't do it any longer. So for us to cold call all those people, we did start that process and we got
But
halfway
if
through.
they don't know that you're doing this, why would they call you back?
Well, if you're communicating with them, I would recommend that you tell them to call our office. They do have to get
communicate
retrained.
to 14 towns. I would gladly do it if I could. But I'm saying you should, how long does it take to make a phone call?
Well, I don't, as I just stated, I don't have a volunteer coordinator anymore. So we're trying to do this the best we can. We are short-staffed. Again, some people released information now to the public that was actually confidential information that should have never been released. They won't even be considered to be a volunteer going forward because of that. I have people that broke the code of conduct. Those also won't be considered as our volunteers going forward because, again, we have to adhere to standards. We don't have the mercy of just doing what we want when we want to do it. And we were cited by NYSOFA for some of these issues, so we do need to address that. And again, there will be people that won't be eligible to come back on as a volunteer, unfortunately, because of those issues. So.
Man, I just have a couple of questions. You said Acre has one route, what are the other sites?
Athens, I believe, is up to two. I think they have two routes. They did have another route. There's some issues. I think Sleepy Hollow is an issue there. I think they were splitting it up occasionally, depending on who did the route. That's another issue. Catskill, I believe, has 4 routes. Cooksaki, I believe, has 2 routes. And the Mountaintop has 3 routes. Greenville has multiple routes, but Greenville, ironically, that's the one township that actually manages their own volunteers. So we have one point of contact in Greenville. This is actually, I mean, if there was a way that we could facilitate something like this would actually probably be the better option. The way it works with us is we communicate with one volunteer coordinator that's located in Greenville, and that volunteer coordinator finds the volunteers, sends them to us so they can be vetted and background checked, and then they handle the scheduling of those volunteers. And making sure that they make it to their trainings and that they get what they need. That actually works better for us, but again, every township is not one and the same. These are things that I kind of inherited and we're just trying to work with them.
So that was going to be my second question.
Yeah.
If Greenville is, I didn't know Greenville was doing that, but that's actually a good idea. Maybe having a volunteer like they're doing in Greenville in all of these other centers. You know, maybe a senior citizen would volunteer to do like a monthly calendar.
In the center or the town?
Or in the town.
Well, it seems like she just announced Cooksaki had 2 routes, or somebody there
Right, like
could
that's,
set up some type of calendar for Cooksaki. Maybe there's a senior citizen that could do that. And then eventually, if we don't have the volunteers, maybe we hire, you know, I don't know how many per diem staff that you could have that come in from 11 to 1. I think of it as like the school system. You know, if we don't have substitutes, the kids don't go home. I mean, they need a teacher in the room. So we each cover a period during the day, the school day. We take on an extra class. Now we're compensated for it, but we take on an extra class so those kids have a teacher in the room. Could those volunteers take on an extra room? Or could these per diem people?
and we already, just so you know, we do have 2 per diem drivers that facilitate that freehold route. I mean, we already hired 4, so 4 routes are covered by per diems.
Okay, so what I'm saying is you're saying that there was staff, administrative staff that had to go out and do this.
Right.
So could we hire people? I don't know the number of people that would be needed, but could we hire somebody to come in from 11 to 1 every day? You know, maybe there's other things in your office that need to be done, and in the event that they don't have to go and deliver meals, maybe there's some type of paperwork, like DMV has those people that work in the back that process paperwork. Maybe there's something that those people can do for 3 hours a day. If you need the driver, then those drivers could.
I mean, we have it advertised too. We are struggling finding people that want to work. And the problem is that we have to guarantee them exactly what days we're gonna need them and for what hour. I mean, that's one issue that we run in on the Mountaintop. We did that in an effort to, because there was some
But they'd be
struggles on
coming
the
into your
Mountaintop.
office, not to the mountaintop, they're coming into your office.
Right, I'm just
And
saying,
then that volunteer coordinator in those centers could say, hey, you know, this person's not coming in today, I need this person to come up to Cooksaki to deliver, I need this person to go to Jewett to deliver. You know, and something like that could be an option.
yeah, I think our biggest struggle that we again have is that per diem positions are very difficult to hire for. So
Right.
that has been a struggle. I mean, like I said, we have that with one of the drivers that we have now, that we can't get set dates, we can't force them to work if they don't want to work, so it
But
would
seems
really
like
have to
Marilyn
be.
had some success with that and doing her paperwork. You know, so maybe there's something that you have that
Yeah,
Yeah,
needs to be
but
done.
they gotta drive and they're.
2-hour shift is a difficult thing to recruit.
Well, I mean, we do that in the school system, you know, there's lunch monitors that come in from 11 to 1 every day. They work for 3 hours a day. Oh, maybe there's some parents out there of kids that go to school that we could tap into. We don't know until we try, that's what I'm saying.
True. I just, the clarification I want to see is, there's 4 centers versus 14 towns.
Well, there's 5 cents.
I'm sorry.
Right.
And
It seems
so
that's
if
where-
Greenville is taking care of a town, is that a better solution to have 14 volunteers to take care of each town or?
But you don't have 14 different towns handing out meals. You have, she just said Cooksaki is 2, Catskill was 4, Jewett was 3, and Athens was 2.
Well, Cooksaki, like
And Edinburgh was
Catskills, it leads South Carroll as a route. You know what I mean? So they are different, I guess, I mean, yes, they're part of the town of Catskill,
Yeah.
but again, and Greenville comes out of the, Athens Center. It comes straight from Athens, those meals, just.
But maybe there is a senior volunteer that'd be willing to do what Greenville is doing, and you
Yeah.
have them do this calendar
Yeah,
that
and-
they submit to your office.
Yeah, and I mean, the Greenville situation works because our drivers both driving those meals to that volunteer base. They have a meetup spot and they're driving them every day. So again, half the trip is actually broken up by our staff,
My
so.
last question, you mentioned the ARC was only doing Acre, I thought they were.
No, I was just I had only just was specifying about like even acres. I really only have 1 day a week out of 5 days a week that is always consistent, the same people.
Because I know
So that's what
ARC
makes-
does, they've always done a lot of work with us. I remember years ago going with Warren Hart and meeting with them up there, and not only the transit, but doing the meetings. They don't take any reimbursement from
No.
us, you know, they're volunteering for us.
Right, yeah, I mean, the only struggle we have, at least from my staff's perspective, historically with them is that they do tend to close any bit of inclement weather. So that is a struggle that we don't necessarily stop our routes because it's flurrying out, but they do, I mean, that is something that is, dealt with on it. And then that requires us, again, have a driver, somebody's gotta go out and deliver those meals, so.
Would it be better if there were at specific hours to say the per diem people? To have the per diem people work a 4-hour shift?
I think, again, the per diems, in order to stay per diem, you have to stay 4 hours or less a day or 20 less a week. It seems like part-time is more where people tend to favor because
Yeah.
there is some benefit to that. They do, receive accruals. And they do have they're in the steps and things like that, so their pay does go up more. But per diems have been, I mean, we've had, since I've been here, I'm on my 2nd per diem driver. And again, it's at their mercy, so it's been a struggle, so. And we run into with veterans as well with their drivers. It is challenging, unless it's somebody that's really committed to what they're doing or they have nothing else going on. I mean, those really are the identifiable people, is the ones that, this is kind of like a hobby for them. But they are a struggle to
I think
find.
the issue is out in the public eye right now because of everything that happened. We have the Daily Mail guy here, maybe they could put something in saying that, is there somebody out there? I mean, we heard a lot of people come to that public hearing, step forward and, could you work 3 hours a day to do this? As a backup, and then assist whatever needs to be done with your other employees.
Yeah, and that would be helpful. Again, I think the struggle has been, and we are going through some records because I do, part of the accountability for volunteers is that we do need to make sure they have their background checks and that we have all the files in place. Some of those records are not in place. Some of them came on during COVID where there was this kind of loosey-goosey, process to which they did their, when they were desperate, they took whatever, and NYSOBA had given them that kind of leeway to do that, but we never caught back up to making sure that they were fully vetted. So we're going through that process now as well. So that's been,
So the
again, a
deputy
challenge.
director actually took over part of the responsibilities of what you're fighting with now,
Yes,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
volunteers and calling out and, trying to switch a schedule at 8 o'clock in the morning.
yes, yeah. And sometimes we don't find out until it's 11:30 and they were already there to pick up their meals and they're late. And they notified somebody. This is kind of the other issue, is that there's a lot of people involved, right? There's center managers, there's a nutrition coordinator, we have a volunteer line that they're calling, the front desk, and it depends on who got the message. Did they let the right people know? And that is part of the problem too. I mean, it's, like I said, we're trying to clean these things up, but these are ongoing issues on a daily basis.
Amanda, with, going with the status quo on the meals, the volunteers, are you suggesting we should try to find a replacement for Ruth's position?
Also that part of the reason again why we didn't replace Ruth was because we lost the funding for those, that program, that RSVP program, which is for retired seniors volunteer program. We lost that program funding back on April 1st. So we did transition some volunteers for the medical transportation, and for our Friendly Visitors program has gone to Catholic Charities. That's been really great. The volunteers were all really, there was no hiccup in it. They just did what they had to, and they were very happy to work with us on that. The only ones we didn't transfer were our senior center volunteers. We do have some that help at the senior centers, dishing out food and things like that, and then the meal drivers. I do think it's gonna be a challenge for us, with the current staffing level to kind of manage this, depending upon how we, move forward. Part of the thing was, that we analyzed was, well, do we look at certain routes in particular and make those, employee-driven routes versus using volunteers because of the, the constant need to find replacements and deal with the vacancies. Again, I'm at the mercy of the board, so I'm just waiting to figure out what direction we can move with, but it is getting very difficult to maintain at the current rate that we're at, so.
How short staffed are you?
So right now we're filling an aging specialist, which will backfill one of the vacancies that we had in our case managers. Ironically, it's an internal shift, so we really didn't need to hire from the outside. We were kind of overstaffed at the central kitchen, moved to that central kitchen model, which was good. And that person was doing deliveries for us when we had vacancies in the routes, which she can still do from her position that she's taking, in the admin office. But we are down, part of the issue that I have is that we're down Ruth's position, really, that managed a lot of this ongoing. We are down another admin position, at the moment in time. And then we had center managers where we were double staffed in some centers and only had one person in others. Those we've kind of left alone. We work, really ideally it would be nice to have 2 people at each center, but we don't have the staff for that right now. And we are down 1 full cook that we had lost through attrition. She had passed away. So we are, like I said, we're really trying our best to figure out what makes the most sense. I don't want to just hire a body and stick them somewhere. I want it to be like where it's most needed, but again, we've been kind of cycling through all these decision points to figure out what is the best direction to go. And at this point, that's what we were looking for, is guidance on how to move forward.
So you are looking for case managers?
No, that's been filled. Yeah.
How many case managers do we have now?
So we have 3 right now, and then we'll have 1 more that's starting.
How many did we used to have like 7?
Not that I'm aware of. No, there wouldn't be a need for that many. We don't have that many clients on.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Amanda,
But,
yeah, Amanda, we had people show up at our public hearing for the budget and espouse how they would be willing to volunteer. We had people show up here last week. Have you gotten any calls for volunteers to show up?
I got one email notification today. Now I don't know what it's for because it doesn't tell me until I open it up, but it just came in at 5:21. But I think that's all I've received since last week.
Out of all those folks who spoke up, you got 1.
Well, I think, I don't want to speak on their defense, but did they know that the program was continuing? Because I don't think we gave them an answer that night. So maybe putting something out through our office, looking for volunteers again, and then determine whether we get that.
I understand.
Yeah, and we have communicated that. Again, the only people internally that knew about the quasi decision that was made by the board was staff. That was staff at the centers. So if volunteers
I'll be happy to put it on my legislative page that we're looking for volunteers and to call your
Or
own.
put it on the rep in the paper. We got plenty of places you can put it, get it out there.
I'm just saying, they all knew, these people all spoke and they all
Yeah,
had meetings and
but
they knew that
They didn't know,
volunteers.
Mike, they didn't know we were gonna keep going with the program.
Yeah, there was no.
Give them an answer.
We still.
I'll put it out there.
There's still, was put out there that we're short on volunteers.
There was
But
never
if
a
Mike,
decision saying the program was gonna end.
Yeah, we never made that decision. I mean, nothing changed for what it's
Well,
worth.
nothing changed, it was status quo.
Well, put it out there and let us know how many people sign up.
We made a video a few years ago with our media, camp kids, so I will send that video to James again. We put it out a few years ago, to put on our social media sites.
And I think I heard the answer to the question when Mike asked, we're using some of the volunteers in other programs now?
Well, they always, a lot of people did multiple functions. So somebody that delivered, like maybe their primary function was to do medical transportation, but in a pinch, they would cover a meal route. The only issue with that is it's separate, you know, they are separate, and characteristics to the job and, you know, and standards that we have to adhere to. So again, there's a little bit different.
But it would be an option if people still wanted to volunteer and we could get the volunteers for them to just go to Catholic.
Oh, absolutely.
And like the volunteers to drive for Meals on Wheels.
Absolutely, and we've done that because we do have people that, again, their schedule doesn't allow for them to be available from 11:30 to 1, so they actually volunteer with the Friendly Visitors Program because they can pop in the morning before work or after work or on the weekends.
The opportunity would still be there.
The opportunity, absolutely, 100%, and again, we didn't, anybody that was a volunteer under those other programs have stayed, they didn't, you know, relinquish being a volunteer with us, so, and it's just a partnership. I mean, they still get the mileage reimbursement, IRS rate for the mileage reimbursement, and again, we're still utilizing them. So absolutely, there is still a need for volunteers in general. I mean, I can tell you that even Community Action and a lot of our other nonprofits in the county are struggling with this exact same problem. I mean, Catholic Charities was struggling. They had this program already, you know, started and trying to get it up and running starting since April. And they really weren't getting a huge buy-in into it until we brought our consumer, you know, our volunteers, and now they're volunteers. So now they have a more robust volunteer network to use as well. So that has been a, you know, again, that's something that is the silver lining in that, is that they were able to utilize them. And their funding actually supports, so, you know, we pay for the seniors mileage, but their funding also supports anybody that's disabled of any age if they need a hand or the family needs a hand as a caregiver, so. Yeah. Any other questions?
So we actually have ended up back kind of where we were,
Pretty much.
decided, you know, we're not gonna do that right now, but I'm just saying we have to decide really what we're doing, you know, so that Matt can put his stuff on, I can put it on my page, whatever.
Yeah, no, what I,
The budget vote next
what
week.
I got was, we're gonna beef up the recruitment efforts
Yeah.
through HR. We're gonna contact former follows to see if they would come back. And then-
Well, we started that process of reaching out to former volunteers. Again, we can send an email out, but what we were running into is a lot of them were already like, no, we can't do it any, you know, there were physical impairments. Our records just aren't that great. A lot of them were paper. We were going through a lot of stuff just to figure out to make sure they had background checks. So some people, even if they were previously a volunteer, they would have to restart the whole process anyway. So it would be better off for them to just do a whole new recertification. We have a link on our website. It's a direct link to our volunteer tracker software. And then we send that over to the sheriff's office for the background checks. And then once we have them back, then we can set up a training. But again, onboarding new volunteers, you're looking at a solid month to be able to get new volunteers up and running and trained and ready to go. So,
Plus, we have to bring you up, their staff up to.
right, and again, that's been something that I've been hesitant to do until we know where we're at, because again, my need may not be staffing the nutrition sites, it might be driving, right? And I would have to put my money on the driving to make sure that we could get the meals where they need to go.
We need to do that.
So we have to figure out.
And maybe we look at a volunteer to do the calendar, like resources.
Yeah.
That was gonna be the alternative, not to worry about contract. And there's enough work for a volunteer to do. If you want to be a volunteer, but if we can focus on getting the meals to the seniors where you have to get a delivery company or something just to do it, to get it there, then there's a lot more stuff for volunteers to help out with too. I think that should be.
I think that's the whole goal of the whole program.
That was, yeah,
Deliver the food.
yeah.
But if you look into a company that would deliver for.
Yeah, no, I'm all about
I think And that would take more stress off the department as well.
Well, and that delivery, so the service that we talked about, when we originally discussed the possibility of using a third-party vendor for cooking the meals, Mazzone's, they have a contractor that they work with, they're called Care for You. They're a nonprofit that works out of a couple of the counties neighboring us. And the way those people work is they do just the delivery portion. They stop at the center, they pick up our hot meals, and they bring them out and they do the delivery, they do the rounds. They hire local drivers. If somebody's out, they have a whole corporate office that they can send somebody back down and make sure that they have somebody to backfill the routes.
They're doing that, all that managing.
And they're doing all the management and taking it out of the hands of the county to manage. Again, that was $3 a meal, $3.40 a meal that they were charging, and they had the opportunity at that point to also put in for mileage reimbursement. But we have 22 people that go to the same place, so they're not gonna put in for mileage 22 times for those drop-offs. But, and inclement weather isn't an issue with them, things like that. So, that's another option.
Plus all the other things that are available for
Right.
volunteers if they wanna volunteer.
Right, I mean, we had to cut back on medical transportation because we really just didn't have enough drivers, so we couldn't, there's plenty there, so we're limiting people at 4 rides a month. I mean, there are people that need a ride every day to chemo treatment and, dialysis 3 times a week that aren't getting it, but these are things that we really could be using our volunteers for in a more constructive way. And it also helps us with regards to compliance and things like that, which that's my, again, we just had a site review in June from NYSOFA, and those are concerns that they had was, making sure that we're maintaining the 10 flags and things like that. And it's ongoing training, it's food safety training and all of that these people have to commit to. And I think that that's been something that, not sure if they really were aware of the commitment level at the time that they signed up, but when we host these trainings, we had a bunch back in the spring and early summer. We didn't have the people showing up that we thought we had as far as volunteers available, so.
There was a state program, gosh, I had the name in my mind forever and I just forgot it. But I was listening to the radio and the state has a program, has to do with rides for grandparents to.
Go grandparents?
Go, that's it.
Yes.
Go.
So that's something that I'm looking into. My understanding is that Greene never got an allocation for it, but there are allocations statewide to counties. And actually, we're in the process right now, veterans, of trying to acquire some funding using that methodology. But the way it works is it's like an Uber or a Lyft for grandparents, but they just have to make a call. They don't have to use an app. They don't, all the scheduling of Ubers, it can be challenging for people that are not, proficient with their smartphones and things like that. But it actually, the problem is that when I researched it, I actually went on and pretended to do a mock ride. It was $36 for a 10-mile, each way, 20-mile round trip ride. From Catskill to Carroll. I figured, well, let me pick 2 centers that are pretty popular, and it was $36. They charge 5 a minute, they charge the actual mileage, so it's pretty pricey, again.
Isn't that the county or the ride?
Well, we don't have it right now because we didn't get an allocation, but the counties that got allocations up to whatever value that they had, they were able to use those funds for that purpose. Again, if we were able to get an allocation, that would be great, but I'm not sure if there, is there anything available? I had a call in to Greg Olson to see where we're at, to see if we could get something. I actually think there's a meeting scheduled for next week. I'm meeting with him on it to see if there's anything available left for Greene, but.
I would bet it's comparable to what we're paying Kentucky Transport.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that was an option. I heard about it and I thought it was a great thing that this guy started. Seemed pretty viable. I didn't really get into the particulars, but.
Yeah, so that's why, like I said, we're exploring it. I believe it's Orange County or Putnam County does Go Vets. So again, it's the same parent company, but they do it for their veterans transportation.
Well, I heard about they were doing it in Saratoga, I think it was where they were doing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I mean, again, I'm looking into it, any option that we have, because that could also help get some people if they wanted to go to the centers or participate in some of our programming as well. But I think the true need is really getting some of these individuals, to the grocery store, to, maybe the salon or something. I mean, it's those trips. I had a gentleman at one of our events he just wanted to go ice skating to the Kiwanis Arena in Saugerties. I mean, it was the sweetest thing. He's like, you don't have anybody that can drive me? I'm like, it's not medical transportation. I mean, you might need it afterwards, but, but he started laughing, I mean, these are really things that we all kind of take for granted that we can't just go where we want to. So that was kind of part of the reason why I looked into that when I did. And it, like I said, I've been waiting a little bit to connect with them, but I'm hoping that there's something available for Greene that we can utilize. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anything else?
Sherry, just quickly for Amanda, we've given her direction now on the way we're going, right? This is not a resolution we have to pass.
It will be next.
Yeah, Monday night.
So
Be a
Sean,
budget amendment.
It'll be a budget.
It'll be a budget amendment, and would it go through
No.
through you?
No.
Okay.
so Sean, could you recap what the next steps are? You started to do that,
For budget or for this issue
well,
here?
for this issue.
The recruitment efforts for the per diem staff will push the job vacancies, see, through our normal stream. The outreach of having people volunteer to go through the vetting process would also go as well. And then dependent on, I mean, that's gonna take weeks to come to fruition, so probably after the first of the year, we can try to get a pulse on where we are. In the meantime, we're gonna keep fingers in the dike. But I think eventually, the option of contractual obligation, well, we already have, we have a concept now. And redirect volunteers into other service issues that we need volunteers for as the managers outline. The big thing is the consistency of having the staffing, the backup when someone's ill or going on vacation. The compliance issues, and if Ed was sitting here, he'd say liability standpoint as well. These volunteers are ours, if something happens, litigation follows. You hire it out, all that's off the table, and there's so much for a volunteer to do, it's ridiculous. I agree. I mean, there's no real option.
Well, volunteers have to give them a shot.
So are we asking a volunteer at each center to make a calendar? Is
To
that?
become the volunteer coordinator,
Yeah, I mean, that, again, if that's the direction we're leaning, I mean, I think we would need to make sure whoever we're I mean, I think that's a vetting process. I wouldn't want just anybody. I think, you know, again, we're relying on these people to ensure that they're got an accurate head count, that they know where they're going every day. I mean, it's still communicating that information.
So you could determine that, as to who you feel like.
Well, yeah, I mean, we would need to know who would be wanting and willing, and again,
and what equipment do they need?
And
Are
what
they gonna need a
equipment do you
computer, are
need,
they gonna need a phone, are they gonna?
yeah, and where are they gonna be housed, and, you know, are they gonna work from, I mean, that's fine if they want to.
They're volunteering.
They're volunteering, but the issue, like I said, is what if they're sick, what if they're out, who's the backup? And, you know, I think that that's been something that we're kind of struggling. We still have all the contacts for all the people that are used in Greenville, but there is one person that kind of primarily handles that route, so.
And then do we look into hiring per diem staff?
Per diem staff would not be covered by a CBA, but they would be.
Not per diems,
Right.
no, the part-timers,
As long as they're
part-timers would be.
So would it be safe to say we could put that out somewhere to let people know that we're,
So Amanda, you said there's neighboring counties have a service, it's $3 and something a meal, you said?
Yeah, that Care for Use program is currently operating in, I believe it's Saratoga County and
It's
Schenectady.
not a county organization.
It's not a county, yep,
Right, $3 something a meal?
$3.40 a meal.
And how many meals do we have a day?
So that's kind of where I started out, 129 county prepared meals now.
That's $438 a day.
The mileage, does the mileage come into play?
The mileage does, but multiple stops at this, like if you're, you know, going to.
But I mean, if they have to go to Jewett, I mean,
Yep.
wherever, I don't know where
Well,
they're.
they would pick up from the local, again, we're still using the centers as the distribution points for the homebound, so
So
they
they
would.
would get paid from the center to,
To the
To do their
laptops.
route to the last stop, yeah.
We're
Yep,
paying now anyway.
which we are, right, many are already putting in that now,
What's the going IRS rate?
77.
It's 70 cents now, I believe it's going to 73 January first.
Now, that's the IRS rate for regular mileage. The board has agreed to pay the IRS rate for regular mileage. However, volunteer mileage, I think is actually, the IRS rate is like half of that.
It's 50 cents, but we raised it a number of years ago because we weren't getting the volunteers, so we increased the rate back to the IRS. I believe mileage last year was just short of $100,000.
Yep.
For this program.
well, combined volunteers.
Okay.
And
We're gonna have to give it 2 months for the recruitment effort and absolutely, and then the outreach to volunteers
Okay.
and the vetting process for the volunteers that we do get applications from. The sheriff's department has to get involved as well. You're talking 60 days easily.
be honest, it is funding right into the budget now, because from a standpoint of meeting the obligations that the state requires, I think it would be beneficial having somebody else managing that program. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think we can swap what we're paying for mileage
Yeah.
if there's contractual fees, so I think we're all set.
We can both, don't they?
What's that?
If you do contractual fee, it's like a fee and a mile.
Yeah, right.
Correct.
Yeah, your mileage plus the thing.
Yeah,
Correct.
those both. Either way, you're paying mile. No matter what, you're not,
Either way, you can line.
you're not gonna avoid that.
My only concern is this is just like the visiting health people. Mountaintop's gonna take it to shorts because they're not gonna wanna drive up there and be there. I mean, I got people up there that can't get people to visit with health aides because it's so far from house to house or anything else. It's not like coming down here where, you know, you got a couple blocks of people and you're getting all this real quick. That's my only concern. It might happen or it might not.
How are you taking it short? Explain it. I'm just trying to understand it.
Because when you pay visiting nurses and stuff, right?
Volunteer, you still do volunteer and go
No.
visit. No, you just.
We're talking about paying somebody to deliver food. You're wanting to go with delivering service. What are you talking about?
Because I think it'll get meals.
Right, so my problem is that just like the visiting nurses, it's easy to get a visiting nurse to come down here and do 10 houses in a day as opposed to going up the mountain. That's why we paid them more, remember? We paid them more to go to the mountain. We still can't get people up there because of how far all the visits are. So is that gonna happen with the meals too?
Well, I think at that point, we could hire staff then, and maybe they just do the mountain routes. You know what I mean? I think that's the thought process.
I don't care how it happens,
Yeah.
just as long as the mountaintop doesn't get left out.
Oh, no, I mean, I don't think that was the thought process. I mean, again, this company.
Because they are
was
getting
gonna be
left out
hiring
on the visiting nurses and stuff now.
Right, well, I mean, part of the issue with that is that's a service that isn't like,
Exactly.
you know, you could have one person here and one person 20 miles away, but they're only getting 4 hours a week. That's the struggle with that. This is a continuous, it's always gonna be available, it's always gonna be in the same area. So again, you know, I don't think we necessarily have an issue with even staffing. If we're gonna hire somebody, that's where they would go. So that would be, you know, worst case scenario, if the agency couldn't find a driver in your area, we would be staffing it. We have drivers already on the books, so. So we would make sure that they would be prioritized for that.
Okay, so we'll move forward with doing the volunteer stuff for now. And to see if you get no response, if you get a minuscule response, then we're gonna have to look at delivery. You know, but let's at least try and get some volunteers. Okay. Mandy's done.
Is worse dead yet?
I know, I think,
I know. Garmin. More good news.
Well, actually, there is some good news, but we'll start with not the good news. Okay, well, half good news. So anyhow, I'll give you the Reader Digest version since we had a lot of stuff right. So anyhow, for the government shutdown for the SNAP program with litigation in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, New York started, issuing full benefits to the SNAP cards yesterday. That will be completed by the end of the week. Now, that being said, this afternoon at 3:30 and 4 o'clock, we're looking at potential court actions from those two different courts. So at this point, the cards are being funded and clients will be getting their money. So that's on SNAP.
Is that all the clients who got it last year, or did they have to requalify this year?
No, the current ones. The
Current
ones
ones.
were, yeah.
So anybody who applied for SNAP and they met the requirements are getting SNAP?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the new cases that are gonna take a little bit longer, so we don't have the answer to that yet. So yeah, And that message is changed on the website. So that's one. Number two, heat. There's lots of questions about heat. Not lots of answers on heat. So that being said, remember what I told you initially. OTDA sent out 980 apps, early outreach apps. We have, as of this afternoon, 655 of those back. So that means they're ready to go. If we get and when get a heat program, those monies will be ready to go out once we get that. We cannot give out heat applications since it's not a heat program. The only thing we can do is if you're in an emergency, we can do an emergency application, and using public assistance rules. So at this point, I'm kind of shocked. There's only been 7 of those so far since we've been looking at this last week.
7 applications or emergencies?
7 emergencies that we fulfilled. Lots of conversations, but 7 people that actually came in for emergencies. So they get 150 gallons of fuel. Today, this afternoon, we had a couple of homebound people, so I had a team up on the mountaintop. And I had a team in Carroll, to do the applications with them. So we can figure it out. Any questions on heat?
I haven't heard anything about heat being restored or that's been cut from at the federal level.
So, you're correct. President Trump zeroed it out, actually got rid of the entire office. So at this point, there needs to be appropriations on all sides.
So then why are, I don't wanna say we're giving people false hope in some way, but I asked this months ago when this came out about preparation for people, you know? And just letting people know. And you start putting your pennies aside or something.
Well,
So-
we have to fund it anyway, according to the state.
No, you don't.
Well, the emergencies, but if there's not a heat program, then there's not a heat benefit.
With the emergency, which was quite a bit of money.
Well, it's only 150 gallons and you have to come.
No, I mean, total.
Well, yeah, potentially for all the emergencies that we did, yeah.
Right.
So we'll see. So that's the dialogue to answer your question that the state continues with. You know, they're hoping there's gonna be a heat season. I mean, this is the entire nation, just not New York State.
How many times can they get the emergency? 150, one time per family for?
No, there's no limit for emergencies. There's no limits.
Every 150 gallons.
No. But yeah, you have to apply each and every time.
I think it was Warren County that I just saw this week, put a post out that, the heat funding was held up by the federal shutdown. That actually had nothing to do with the federal shutdown, correct? That was.
No, it was, that
Bill?
was zeroed out.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
And then the office was closed.
yeah, lots of information out there that really doesn't have anything to do with it.
So the message is, once the government opens, there's not an appropriation waiting at that particular moment.
Correct.
That will have
How
to
to fund
An
this.
additional conversation for all those things to happen.
But we knew this back in June.
We did.
We did.
So, and for us to not pass that information on to our constituents, I feel wrong.
Okay, but we, the county, was not allowed to do that. As a matter of fact, the county was to put things up on websites, it was taken down. So it wasn't our information to do that. That being said, my team has been brutally honest with people. And even Eva, if you call Eva and you ask her, there's no heat program. Eva will tell you the heat program is closed.
I'm just saying if people know whether what we can do or can't do, at least you have the knowledge to prepare.
And I personally agree with you. But that was not the message from the state.
I think there was numerous articles in the press that the program was in danger of not being funded along the fall. Late summer. Yeah.
Well,
I think it's out there.
yeah, and that happened in April. I mean, April of that actually.
Yeah, not too many, no.
So that's heat, cold blue. We actually started one night last week on the 6th. We had one person. And then of course tonight we'll have cold blue for the next couple of nights. So we're doing that. And then we have some interesting news. Aaron can put it up on the screen. Now you're gonna look at that and you're gonna say, what in the world is it? Looks very boring. And let me tell you, it's very exciting news for each and every one of you. Because what this is showing you is the combined engagement report for TANF and Safety Net Mo. And this is how I put people back to work. And in those numbers, on the side, let me come over and show you. Because you're gonna be So pretty. This little tiny one right here. That little one, ranked among all the districts. Greene County is number one putting people on public assistance back to work. We're at 35.5%. Yay. That was done here at Britt in making this county office building a C website. So the team has been remarkable for what they've done.
That's a staff success.
Yeah, so we're number one in the state. So isn't that exciting?
Very much, Joe.
That was my
Say,
success.
Matt, what do you want me to say?
You were happy.
I'm happy. I think we can tell them that it's a great job, but let's get it up to 50.
No, that's for me, yeah. I have both.
I'm not going back to someone who's right only 1 or 3 times, but, you know, but
Okay. I'll
maybe
tell
half
them.
the time right, I'll give them business again, but.
Okay. So that shows you the team that we have in place and what they've done.
Either way, we're first in the state.
Well, we're number one. It's pretty amazing.
Kyra, back to the SNAP, who approves the qualifications for SNAP, the recipients,
Who approves of qualification?
that they're qualified to get SNAP?
It's a,
Identification, all these things.
yeah, it's an application. So it's based on federal rules and then the state gives us these applications.
So what I'm saying is who verifies that this person is eligible for it? Because
We have, the team, the eligibility staff.
locally at the county, so it's county level,
County staff.
so we have people, you guys verify that these people are citizens or
Yeah.
legal migrants or whatever, you do all that?
Mhm.
Okay, and it's that they have to show what, a passport or?
No, there has to be identification. You have to be, where you're living. I mean, I have that whole unit that once you apply, within 10 days, somebody's knocking on your door to make sure you're there.
So
who you
if a non-legal resident was eligible to get a New York State driver's license, which they're currently eligible to do, and then they come with that driver's license to you, does that,
You have to be eligible for, public benefits. So somebody can get a license, which I don't know anything about, that's not my world. But you have to be able to access, federal benefits.
okay, but one of the qualifications is they have to have a photo ID as part of their application process, right?
Yeah, but then your names go into the systems that we run and we have to make sure that everything.
But they
is
don't have to
correct.
provide a naturalization certificate or a passport.
No, I mean,
The computer system
yeah.
will tell us that.
But I wouldn't do that. I mean, there's certain people that are in the country from other countries that could be here legally for certain terms. I mean, and there's things that we put in. It's actually, there's an 8-page desk guide to figure out who's who and what you need to do.
So, but then you pass that information along to the state level or to the federal level?
So our files go to the state and the state gives them to the feds.
So things could happen at the state, which may change someone's eligibility, or no?
Mike wants to know if you're legal citizens.
That's right, because you hear about people here illegally getting SNAP benefits, or if they're getting it, I don't know, I mean, that's why I'm asking these things.
They're getting it in Greene County, they're working for it.
Maybe.
Well,
Oh, she's right, though, I
No,
guess,
you can do that,
Walmart was packed with people filling up their grocery carts today, so,
started loading the cars.
you know, and I guess they're getting their money on their cards, but hey. That's a great thing, people are on food stamps.
Anything else?
Are we all good?
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. That's control, very.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, Jerry.
Wow.
Hey, are you timing me?
Oh,
Sit down.
oh.
Okay. All right, so we have 2 agenda items. First one is authorizing Commissioner Greene County Department of Social Services to execute annual mandated court-ordered contracts and/or memorandums of understanding, MOUs, on behalf of Greene County.
Rivera.
All right, Joe.
Rivera,
Rivera leg, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Second, authorizing advertisement for food supply bids, Greene County Department of Human Services, Aging, and Sheriff's Department. Handle and Lucas, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's it. Passed. All right, so, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to close.
Andrew O'Connell.
We're closed. Thank you.
Oh, finally, break. Wake up, Scott, you're good.
Go first next time.
Five, with the call Public Works Committee to order. You can thank you from Scott, our accountant. I was.
Mark.
Saw.
Very good.
Look at
that one. I followed the crowd.
He's
He's the commissioner.
Well, it's appropriate for the weather that's coming up right now. Obviously, as you look at your weather forecast, winter has arrived. Temperatures are falling. Currently we have some mixed precipitation right now. Seems like that's the trend we're heading into, unfortunately. We have our equipment getting dressed up and ready for snow and ice control, but I'll go down through the bridge projects that we currently have on the agenda. County Route 40 bridge project in the town of Wyndham is currently in the right-of-way process. You'll see next month, or actually maybe even this coming cycle, a resolution. Looks like we're going into EDPL, that's the eminent domain procedural law for a parcel in the town of Wyndham. So that'll be brought to you as, I believe, this month by Ed Kaplan, county attorney. County Route 61, we're still in the right-of-way and final design and get that up and ready for construction for 2026. It looks like it is going to be on track for 2026. Spruceton and Sabre Valley are in the preliminary and right-of-way design process. Sabre Valley, we're actually still waiting for New York State DOT to give us the state and local agreement. Bridge and Culvert, New York projects, County Route 3 in the town of Halkett is still moving forward. It looks like the right-of-way process is working its way through, and it's still projected for next year. Hopefully we can get that out to bid February, March. Black Cove Road Bridge, we're still working through the right-of-way and design. We're coming into issues because this was red flagged due to some cracking of an existing rock that is out there on the footings. The designers are trying to figure out how to not only resolve that, the original issues that have going on with that bridge, but that specific red flag. We've done many different types of concrete repairs, but this is the first time that we actually had to repair existing rock because of the age of the structure. We're not sure if that one actually is going to be a 2026 project now. County Route 20 Sunside Road we're still waiting for state and local agreement from New York State DOT. Got federal authorization, which is good. Even during the shutdown, we still have that federal authorization, but we are waiting for the state and local agreement. The locally funded projects that we had this year, County Route 2 Culvert project was completed and road was opened. It was another successful project that we had this year. Balky Road and in Lexington, that was also repaired and completed. The red flag was removed by New York State DOT, so that one's cleared. 23B driver feedback sign in Caro, that's installed and working. The signs were not on today or will be on tomorrow because of the holidays. So if you don't see the signs working, that's.
Who was that?
Yeah, they
Cool,
had
yeah.
teachers out.
We had to work.
They had teachers gone right.
We had a conference day.
Oh,
Students were not in
Kids
class.
weren't Kids weren't there.
All right. Lead the County 23B leads Main Street improvement project that is still moving forward. We had our public meeting we were waiting for comments. We actually have not had a tremendous amount of comments back to us. I think that's a good sign based on our, public meeting, which I believe went fairly well. We're still working through the different design alternatives based on the comments that we did receive. Culvert, Kennery 2 culvert in the town of Prattsville. We are still in a design process right now. We're trying to figure out what our budget is for next year to see if that one's gonna end up going as well. That along with the Kennery 23C culvert in Jewett. And we're still working through the Kennery 61 slide, trying to find alternatives to that original design. As I was saying, we're in snow and ice control season right now, so the equipment is being dressed up and fitted for plows and sanders, testing equipment.
Salt inventory, what?
Salt inventory, we just actually redid the salt shed, the floor in the Athens, so that's back in very good condition, brand new condition now, so we have to fill the barn up. We still have salt in all the other areas, so we're still good on that. Paving has been completely completed this year, so we're not fighting any storms to get anything finished. You'll see.
Final mileage?
I knew you were gonna ask that question. It's several different versions of what we did. I mean, total surface resurfacing, we did over 43 miles. That's paving, cold mix, microsurfing, full depth reclamation. So
Crack sealing in there too?
crack sealing is not in there. That's additional.
Resurfacing.
That's actual surface retreat.
Correct.
That's amazing.
So yeah, and that's a testament to our crews as well. I mean, for all those miles, we have to prep the roads, change culverts, do ditching, brush clearing, tree trimming. So
How's the system working out that's telling you which roads are of priority?
that's one of the testaments to this,
Okay.
how much paving we actually got done.
Yeah.
We've had to work with them a little bit on some of the surface treatments that we do. They hadn't included them, but we're working with them, and I think it's working out very well. The data that's coming in is tremendous. I mean,
Okay.
all of our trucks or all the trucks that run the roads daily have the technology on it. So I think it's working out very well for us. I mean, we really can narrow it down, and the conditions of our roads is rising.
Well, Scott, with the 40+ miles, how does that then change our Cornell status or?
Next month, I'll give you the full
Okay.
rundown of where we were and where it is now. And you'll see the progression of how the roads are getting better.
10 years I've been on the board, we used to be down in the 18 to 22 mile range.
Low teens.
12,
13
That's
miles.
incredible that you're 40.
We did get an additional some, for paver potholes, EWR, emergency weather recovery. I mean, we still are getting those additional, but
But you're using a lot of different methods now.
it is the different methods that we're using, the microsurfacing, those kind of treatments we typically didn't do in the past, and we're doing them now, and you can see the difference. So unfortunately, I do have some items that are not on the agenda. We have 2 slides that popped up, additional slides that are active, Kennery 2 slide in the town of Prattsville, the 23A end, and Kennery 20 slide. Those are gonna be, the Kennery 2 slide, Prattsville has 2 sections, one almost 300 feet, the other one 155 feet. So it's,
Was that the same road that we
yes,
used that boring or whatever?
yeah, the soil nail.
Is that area held?
That area is great. And this is probably, it's mile down the road.
Well, down the road, yeah.
Okay.
And this is closer to the Schoharie Creek, so this
Yeah.
is something that we're actually meeting with DEC because it is within 50 feet of the Schoharie Creek, so. But these are probably gonna jump above some of the other slides that we currently have that
Yeah.
because they are active and they're on the shoulder of the road, which we are losing some of the shoulder as well as some of the asphalt. So,
Soil and water bill to help with any of that?
we discussed it with their process takes a little bit longer than what we need to get this. This is almost an emergency repair that we're looking into.
You
So,
have to take it down to a single lane through there?
yes, to get it repaired.
And, Scott, I know you said County Route 61, what did the construction plan, the team?
When we came up with the engineer's estimate based on their design, it came back $3 million. And that's just, we're trying to figure out something, an alternative that's a little more cost effective to the county.
I gotcha.
I mean, if that's the only thing that is available, then I'll propose that, but I'm trying to do an engineering analysis and try to figure out.
The other part of that repair, not the other part of that repair, the other slide where the bridge repair sits.
That will be covered.
They're doing the slide first.
That was the original plan before. We still have to figure out because we lost this construction season,
Right.
what they plan on doing. That most likely still is the issue because we're gonna have to put that temporary bridge just upstream and then they'll use that. So most likely that's the route that they're end up going. Cause they're gonna have to fix that
Still
slide.
looking at it, is it gonna be a 2-year project or maybe not if we can get it out early?
If we can get out early, hopefully not. But it's, until we get a contractor on board, it's really not gonna know an exact construction schedule until we have. It has not. We put it up for resolution to go out to bid last month. So we're putting the documents together now. We also have, Wyndham Transfer Station as a potential, reconstruction. We've done all the other transfer stations. That is the last one in our, inventory that has not had anything done to it. We have,
Is that we own that property?
we do not own the property,
Who owns that property?
the town of Wyndham.
Would they be willing to sell that property area?
We don't want,
Yeah,
it's on a landfill.
It's on a landfill?
Yeah.
And we're gonna build a more modern transfer station on the landfill?
Well, a landfill, we're not, our
Yeah.
buildings aren't sitting where the landfill's
Right.
coverage was, it's, it's 100 yards away, but it's all in the same property owned by the town.
Or they wouldn't cut off a little piece and that way we own it anyway?
That's probably a legal question for that, is
I mean,
liability.
we own the other sites, right?
Yeah, the only.
But it would, I mean, logistically, it is the only one that we handle the waste twice.
Right, right.
So
That
it
makes
would,
sense.
it would
We've
be
had 2 incidences of people falling in and hurt.
correct. And a liability issue. It is the one location that still has,
What would you say the volume from Wyndham is compared to Hunter on the mountaintop?
just because Wyndham is more of a residential drop-off
Yeah.
area. I can get you the exact numbers on how.
I'm just
how many
saying, if
times-
you upgrade that site, will you
We're-
get less going to Hunter then? Because
I think you'll see a kind of a balancing
Okay.
of which right now, to be honest, Hunter is being overwhelmed.
Gotcha.
It is maxed to what the capacity of what Hunter should be even doing. When we originally designed and built that station, there were multiple other areas that took C&D, Greendale, sanitation, they were taking C&D at the
Yeah.
time. As soon as we built that site, they went under and everything now is coming to that one station. So we got over, then COVID hit and influx of people coming up the mountain, building, and it's been flat out ever since.
But redoing Wyndham, we could then shoot direct.
Correct,
Same
and I
thing.
think that you'll see more a rebalancing of the volume
Okay,
up
so
on the
Hunter would
mountaintop.
be a little alleviated.
Right, and you'll
Keep
build,
it under control. Gotcha.
it is, cause we're running close to our,
Permit?
it's not permit, it's a, you're right. Yeah, the other one.
Starts with.
It's, yeah, not,
When we,
what's that?
We all know what you're saying.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
The registered site, not a permitted. Catskills are only permitted site. The other stations are, registered sites, sorry.
Okay.
Went brain dead for a minute. But yeah,
Would you seek to basically, like, build something similar to Hunter?
we would build something similar to the Hunter transfer station, which is almost identical to the Cooksaki transfer station. But I think we do a little bit more, something different for the residential drop off as far as the recycling, more like how Catskill is. Catskill is working really well. We have a lot of people that.
There's a lot of room there.
Yeah, the topo works better there too for that type of.
And the topo might actually work on the mountaintop in Wyndham too. The elevation change.
Scott, I had the opportunity to visit Castle twice last month. Appliances and household garbage, and staff, did a wonderful job up there. They all did a nice job. They all knew what was going on. Compliment.
Thank you. Yeah, they do. I mean, the amount of volume that we get through our transfer stations is pretty amazing.
Are you guys looking, I know we discussed maybe last meeting about looking at, your increased rate a little bit, keep up with.
Yes, we definitely plan on increasing.
The increase.
It does include that, okay.
Also, what I'd like to discuss, I know we've had many conversations throughout, the years. We do have, we have 5 fueling stations. We don't have any cameras at any of these fueling stations. I'd like to install security cameras to all these stations, just to keep track of what is occurring. We put it out to a company just to give us an idea. And actually, for a 5-year term with equipment, with everything included with the licensing, it's around $46,200. That's for 5 years, including the equipment. It does facial recognition. You can track license plates.
For all 5 stations.
For all 5 stations. It's 40 total.
Per year or?
5 years.
$4,600.
So yeah, you're looking at between 8 and.
That's a good price.
Yeah.
That's a real good price.
So, I've been playing with their software. It does facial recognition. It does license plate readers. So if you look for, say, somebody says a blue Ford F-150 is going through the station and not doing, you can search it up and you can see how many times that truck visited that station.
Scott, what we often discussing about either the number of stations or the volume of the tanks and, isn't a tank, one of
The
those
only station right now that is currently too small is Hunter. Which, because of the Hunter transfer station being right next door, that's what they use that for the haulers. They come over and
EJ?
EJ uses that. So
How many gallons?
I believe right now that thing it's only 500 gallons. So that thing's being filled every day, every other
4
day.
days a week?
Scott, have there been incidents happening that to concern you that we need to have security cameras on these gas pumps?
No, well, we've had questions before through other agencies that use our facility to fuel. And there was no way to track anything. I mean, other than the key card that they use to swipe, who was using the card when they were, I could tell you when they were using it, but I don't know what, other than that.
Yeah, schools use it, fire districts use it, police departments use it.
Right. So yeah, our fueling stations are used by emergency services. Every fire company in Greene County uses one of the stations. The ambulance service uses it, the sheriff's department uses it. Other towns use some stations. So we give them little key fobs and they swipe it, and we charge them as far as the fuel that they take. But other than that, there's no other way to track and.
In terms of pulling a personal car up or pulling gas.
Correct. We don't know.
Or filling up gas cans in the back of their work truck.
Right.
For that amount of money per year, I think it's well worth it. Crazy not to. Yeah.
So we did go and make sure that one of the first things I did was making sure we have internet connection to all the buildings. which surprisingly, we did not have. We do now, so it does have the ability to have these cameras.
How are you with the employee situation? Like, are you short-staffed? Are you fully staffed?
We are definitely not fully staffed, but we're struggling, but we're making it work. This snow and ice control season, it's gonna be difficult when somebody calls in. We're definitely gonna be short people, but we have the ability to cover. It's a longer plow run, so generally our plow runs are 2 hours. If somebody calls in sick or we can't cover it, then we have to extend that, so.
Is it in the budget for you to hire more people?
Yes.
Or you, yeah.
We were just discussing that today. Every person that we've hired in the last 6 months, 8 months, year, they don't have CDL licenses. So we train everyone that has come to our, so we have to put them through a certified training program. So even if we hired somebody today that doesn't have a CDL, it's gonna take quite a while to get them. And I mean, they can drive a pickup truck or a 1 ton, but they can't.
Do we have these jobs posted?
Yeah, we're continually posting them. HR has free advertising and we put them in the paper before. I mean, basically we're all fighting for the same employee in Greene County, whether it's the town or village or New York State DOT in Carroll. We're all going after the same one. Right. So we're looking for mechanics. We're looking for mechanics.
Who's not?
I heard an extra.
God, I'd like to thank you for shared services, bringing that stump grinder up to Powell, kept that project going. Thank you.
Absolutely.
James, you could volunteer with them.
And, Barton LaJudas.
You're not gonna want my bill.
Barton and LaJudas did a very nice job for the County Route 23B project. So thank you, great.
Yeah, and it actually
It
was,
a great
I
presentation.
appreciate that, and I think that was a testament to how much we're not getting a tremendous amount of comments back.
They were very, very professional.
I think that's why you didn't have a whole lot of responses. 'Cause
Right,
you
and
took
that's-
care of it that night.
And I think that we stayed until the allotted time and
Yeah, we
answered as
talked
many
that
questions as we could.
Could have fired them up, they were very professional.
Yeah, some started getting going, they kept it very calm and cool, and nice, very organized.
They didn't lose control. They didn't lose control.
Oh, like I am right now.
We held off in the beginning to get additional information before you held that.
It is, and we wanted the board, we wanted that, and we kind of had an idea what some of the major concerns were, so we wanted to make sure that they were made aware of that. I mean, this is not a project that is just popped up. We've known about this for many, many, many years. So. All right,
What about your maintenance building in Catskill? Have they begun any kind of construction there?
yeah, they started, they're actually gonna be pouring the footings either tomorrow or the next time. They are working Veterans Day. The contractor, we have one of our projects covering it. Anything else?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Randy.
Good turn. Before we go, we got Lance Fisher.
Hello, everybody. Mine will be brief and not as long as everybody else's. I know I have a resolution in tonight for a new 100-gallon prover. Wanted to talk about that. So I was gonna let everybody know. My 100-gallon prover is that green trailer that I tow around my truck that I use to test fuel oil trucks and high flow diesel pumps that pump for tractor trailers. All these new gas stations getting built have these high flow diesel pumps, so the increase for the trailer is growing. The trailer that I currently use was built in 1948. I get it certified every 5 years, and New York State told me last time when I got it certified 2 years ago that it will be the last time that they pass it.
Got 75 years out of it, I think we're good.
Yeah, we did. I'm passionate about as long as we go,
I'll
but
bet you won't get 75 out of the new one.
I probably won't be here 75, so.
Charlie will be.
Yeah. Pretty much what the state's telling me,
Here, another 75.
it's steel, the new one's made of stainless steel, so it doesn't spark. That's pretty much the main reason why they're not passing anymore. They're not letting me use a steel tank anymore. It's gotta be stainless. Second thing is, my job's getting busier. As you know, that there's a lot more establishments around. You guys see a lot of gas stations getting built, and that's only half my job. The other half of my job is consumer affairs, where I do pricing accuracy, barcode checking, and recently I've taken on the cash versus credit pricing at all stores and restaurants.
Would you explain that?
So pretty much, if you go into a store and you see that they're charging a surcharge for a credit card usage, the state has put in laws right now for proper signage for that and what you should charge for that. So say you go in and see something that says 4% increase for a credit card charge, that is illegal in New York State. You have to show the higher price and say there's a 4% discount for cash. Within the past few weeks, I've done a tremendous amount of research with Albany County and some of my colleagues trying to figure this out. I did come up with a handout. I have a stack of them with me. If anybody wants to see them, that I'm giving to local businesses. And it's a learning process for me. Probably within a month, I'm going to meet with Greene County Chamber of Commerce and hand these out to local businesses. This all started from one complaint that Ed got, that the guy was relentless in Ed's office. And that's why I took this on. It's a lot to learn. There's a lot of vague areas in it. As of right now, I'm not going to get into fining. I'm not going to get into any of that. I just want to be informational to start. You know, once I tell one business about this, it snowballs. I've already spoken to probably almost 50 businesses about this in the past 3 weeks.
Oh.
It's going to be one of those things where it's going to be a lot of work in the beginning, and then hopefully everybody will be compliant and will smooth out. But I enjoy my job. I like doing it. I like learning new things. That's
Are
pretty
they
much
allowed
it.
to, are they allowed to charge a certain fee?
They are allowed to charge a certain fee, but they have to tell you what that fee is. They can't just say it's a 4% fee.
Right.
Restaurants should show what the credit price is and what the cash price is, or show the higher price and say there's a percentage discount for cash is what New York State wants.
So they have to do the math, the business has to do the math for customer.
Correct.
Consumer.
The point of sale system.
Lance, considering that this is a state law, shouldn't it be on the state to have to enforce this, regulate it?
That is true.
Not the county
That
carry
is-
the burden of this?
That is true. That's what Ed suggested we do. That's why I'm doing it on my own right now for informational. Albany County Weights and Measures has one person taking care of this for all their businesses, and the guy is really versed on what's going on. So I feel like the state's not doing anything. The county is getting complaints. So when you call the state, they're saying, who's your consumer affairs officer in the county? In Greene County, I am the consumer affairs officer. A lot of counties uses their weights and measures as consumer affairs. So yes, it is a state law and the state should be handling it, but when you call Attorney General, they're kicking it back to me.
But if it comes down to the actual, so I understand the education piece of it, but the actual enforcement of it, like if there are fines that are to be instituted.
So those fines will be the same as me doing package checking. I enforce ag and markets laws. And I do fine for ag and markets laws. So if I go into a store, Sean likes to bring up the cement bags. We had a big thing before you started that cement bags were short weight. 90-pound cement bags were coming in at 70 pounds. I went to the company and told them about this. I followed up 3 months later and nothing was fixed. I in turn then gave them a large fine.
And where do, just to help me, where do those proceeds go? They go to those.
Greene County.
What comes to Greene County?
Correct. I am doing approximately right now $12,000 a year in fines, averaging. And that's on my annual report with Sean for the county. You can see exactly those fines, and then if any of you guys wanna know who I fine, I can show you that. I don't make that public record, but I can show you where I get my fines from.
This probably doesn't pertain to you, but it's really, it's a question I maybe could help. So on your dollar bill, it says this is legal tender for all private and public debts, right?
Yep.
So how can a business get away with only taking credit card for no cash?
That's a good question. That's a good question, and for me, I would say if you investigated that, that would go back to the Secret Service.
That's a retailer's choice, like, Village doesn't take credit cards.
Correct.
They only take cash.
They only take cash.
Right, but on your credit card, it doesn't say this is for legal private. Your dollar bill, any bill you have says that this is legal tender that must be accepted. It doesn't say that on your credit card.
I also, in the same realm of things, I've been contacted about Walmart saying when you pay in cash that they don't have proper coinage to give you change.
Right.
And I have got calls
Pennies are
about
gone.
I've had a lot of complaints about the mobile.
Are they really going?
I get complaints about the mobile,
That's what the state's gonna do.
Gotta round down.
and when I go in there,
We're gonna have.
They're
10%
compliant.
sales
the complaint I get about the mobile is people pay with cash and they claim that they don't speak, they have a language barrier and they don't get their change.
Right, they're not getting their proper change.
I would have to be there to physically see it,
I don't think cash.
to enforce it. I mean, I've had this conversation with Sheriff DeVille.
They've also complained about the gas.
I mean, it's kind of where you're at, no, but.
They have, I've seen it on the community board and I've gone in, every time I've seen that on the community board, I've gone the next day and checked it and there's been nothing wrong. I shouldn't bother, I have a complaint form on my page and I've never gotten a complaint about it there. Casco Community Board, I see it all the time and you see people tag me in it, I'm sure, and I go there religiously. I've gotten to know the guy on a first name basis.
Yeah, that mobile station is. They complain about that all the
Man,
time.
I do think you're right. Once information gets out to your.
Once
business
information
owners,
gets out and it goes,
Yeah, I think they'll adjust.
it'll settle down.
Yeah, you won't have any issues, I don't think.
But I'm just trying to be informational now, so we're compliant in Greene County. Because I do get calls about it.
Mike, I think the problem will be is you're real small, out of the pop store that uses a very simple cash register.
Yeah.
It's nothing's barcoded, it's just, you type in $1.25 plus tax.
The problem that I see is people have a handheld credit card machine. I can tell you the business I get complained about all the time is Two Brothers in Carroll. There's one guy that complains about it all the time. He swipes his credit card there and it prints it out that there's a 4% upcharge because he uses his credit card. What the guy has to do is either A, raise his prices 4%, or B, call the credit card company that he's using that swipe thing and have them change it.
Well, who's implementing it? The owner or the
The
credit?
credit card company that he uses.
So shouldn't he call the credit card company?
Or he can call his credit card company, and have them change that, or raise his prices 4%, have them not put that on there and offer a 4% discount, or 3 on his menu, list all the credit card prices at a 4% increase next to the price. So I have a cash price, credit card price.
Like the gas, when you go by the gas station, it says credit price, $3.
Well, I mean, once you pull that card out, you know that you're the one that signed an agreement with that company when you use it. I don't see where it falls on a business owner at all.
It's New York State.
New York State.
Yep.
How it goes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Lance? Thank you. I did wanna know that his, notifications to the chambers and those things are gonna be a big help, I think, for a lot of folks.
Yeah, I just wanna have my T's crossed, my I's dotted before I go in there. This is all within the past month and a half. I know James, you said you've seen the one I handed out. I actually made it with, says Greene County and everything.
Yeah, we're going through that right now, changing stuff.
So,
I mean, I have Patty notify the back and attack agencies as well, for her monthly meetings, so that.
Lance, can you create that so we can put that onto social media too? Just disseminate it that way? The flyer that you're creating?
I think it should be on there, because I did meet with Terry last week and
Okay.
James Hannis, and they were
Put
gonna
it on
put,
Matt and Sherry's social.
yeah, they were gonna put it on my thing, on my website.
I'll turn the comments off.
Yeah.
I wait for that one.
Make it shareable with no comments.
No comments.
Yeah.
Add a 0 to the 4 and see if you get comments.
Alright.
Thanks, Lance.
Thank you. Not on the political. Okay, got 3 proposed action items.
Are you related?
First one is authorize expansion of services necessary for completion of replacement of County Route 2 over Gully Creek. And 205-755 PRP in Franksville.
I'll move
that. Second.
Anyone going for anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Awarding contract for miscellaneous branch contractors.
Leg.
Handle.
William Handle. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Budget amendment and authorizing purchase of new 100-gallon cruiser for weights and measures.
Thornton?
Thornton. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That is carried.
Motion closed.
Mr. Chairman, before we adjourn for the night, can I just bring something to the floor?
How you gonna do this, if it fits into the committees we have?
Well, I want to get this in the forefront of everything before we bring up to Monday's finance committee meeting. I want to just bring it out there so we can have a discussion about it.
I think I would have to wait till the proper committee.
We don't have a committee tonight. I mean, I don't run committee meetings.
So, like I said, I just wanted to bring something up so we can potentially have a resolution prepared for Monday's finance committee before we vote on the budget about providing relief to the taxpayers. That's all, but if you guys want to wait till Monday to talk about it, then that's okay.
Good, let's go. Can I,
Tax, some of the tax.
just mention, Sunday is the Greene County Historical Society fundraiser, if anybody's going to go. I know James and I were planning on going.
Where's that gonna be?
It's at the Wire in Cooksocket. Then